I'm Olorosisimo, and I will be discussing sleep versus kid, and together with Antonio Miguel V. Avila, who will be discussing spin and its recoveries. So, ano nga ba yung sleep? So, sabi rito, sleeps are used for crosswind landings. They're also used when you want to create extra drag, for instance, to steepen an approach. So, for example, maglaland ka sa sa maglaland ka ng aircraft. Tapos, pag sinabi natin crosswind landing, ibig sabihin yung relative wind ay in direction to right or left ng fuselage mo. So, kapag ganon yung landing, kailangan mong mag-create ng extra drag at mag-steepen ng approach. So, yun, kaya very useful yung steep dito. So, next naman, ang slip daw is any condition where the airflow is misaligned left or right relative to the fuselage. So, ayun nga yun. Next is, it is very safe and useful to maneuver. According to the aircraft, to many aircraft pilots and aerodynamically, very safe and useful yung pag-slip, lalo na kapag magla-landing. So, it is something that every pilot should know how to do. So, sleeping increases the stall speed, and when you're doing an engine outlanding, for example, or you want to kill altitude as fast as you can, nang hindi ka nag-increase ng airspeed, very useful yung pag-sleep. So, para mapakita sa inyo kung ano yung itsura ng aircraft na nag-i-sleep, may hinanda akong video. So, eto, panoorin na. Ito yung pag-sleep ng aircraft. Panoorin nyo.
So you can use that and just see idle deck and low idle deck. Now you can also see a slip and a skid. So if the airplane's flying towards you, I could bank the airplane to the left and put it right now. And when it does, you can see that this is blank, and the airplane's flying towards you, and you see the lower wing is the one that's flying right in clean air. I can do the same thing again by banking to the right and the wind is coming over. This is also about being a slip. If the airplane's flying fine, there's no issues whatsoever. A skid is going to be where you have a right bank.
So, yun yung slip. Yung kapag tapos mo mag-bank sa direction, opposite na yung paglilikuan mo. So, dito naman tayo sa sleeping situation. So, a sleeping situation is any situation where the air happens to be flowing somewhat crosswise. So, leftward or rightward across the fuselage. So, we quantify this by saying that there is non-zero slip angle. So, kagaya nung sa picture, yung wind is somewhat crosswise siya. Leftward or rightward, pwede. Basta yung wind ay crosswise direction. So, dito sa sleeping situation, mostly nagagawa ng mga aircraft pilot ay side slip. So, kapag sinabi nating side slip, the side slip moves the aircraft sideways, often only in relation to the wind, where executing a turn would be inadvisable kasi drag is considered a byproduct. So, most pilots like to enter side slip just before flaring or touching down during a crosswind landing. So, ang side slip ay ginagamit during crosswind landing nga. Yon. So, the upwind wing is lowered using the ailerons and the opposite rudder is used to prevent the aircraft from turning. So, yun yung side slip. Kapag naman sinabi natin na sleeping maneuver, a sleeping maneuver involves a non-zero slip angle at some point during the maneuver. So, the constant course slip maneuver, aka forward slip, is the most common example. So, sleeping maneuver is performed in such a way that the direction of motion does not change. So, Ang sleeping maneuver naman, yun yung paggawa natin ng forward slip. So, ano nga ba yung forward slip? So, forward slip maneuver is complex. It involves sequence of steps, observing multiple things, using multiple controls, and achieves multiple objectives. So, it is performed by lowering one wing with the aileron. So, tapos i-apply na natin yung opposite ng rudder. So, for example, yung aileron mo, ni-lower mo siya. Tapos mag-a-apply ka ng opposite na rudder. For example, ang airplane ay binank mo sa left. Tapos, ang rudder mo dapat right na. So, because you are pressing the rudder pedal on the same side as the raised wing. So, because the rudder is deflected, the air will be flowing somewhat across the fuselage. This creates much more drag than the usual streamlined flow along the fuselage. This is often used for dissipating energy, for example, making the aircraft descend more rapidly on approach. So, make sure you have plenty of airspeed when doing this. And uncoordinated stall is a good way to produce a snap, roll, or spin. So, yung crosswise flow, hindi lang yun nakaka-create ng drag or rearward force. Pero, nakaka-create din yun ng sideway force na nagte-tend na mag-change ng direction ng flight. So, yung slip, therefore, can be viewed as a boat turn in one direction. Because yun nga, di ba, yung crosswise flow possibly combined with an ordinary turn in the other direction. So, because of the bank angle. So, imagine an airplane flying towards you, for example. Tapos, pag binank mo yung angle sa left, tapos ipuput mo yung right pedal, or magbabank ka sa angle ng right, tapos ipuput mo sa left pedal. So, dapat opposite. Kapag ka dito ka sa side na to kumuha ng angle sa aircraft, dapat opposite yung aapakan mong pedal para makakreate ka ng slip. So, next naman is, so tandaan pala na kapag gagawa tayo ng slip, dapat yung fuselage, i-cover niya yung upper wing, which will leave the fuselage with air. Kasi nga, di ba, natatakpan ng fuselage yung upper wing, kaya yun yung nagre-receive ng air. So, because the upper wing is blank, the upper wing is going to stall first kasi nga hindi siya nakaka-receive ng hangin. So, with high angle of attack, for example, iaangat mo pa yung aircraft mo, lalagyan mo ng mag-apply ka ng high angle of attack. With high angle of attack, if the upper wing stalls first, the airplane merely returns back to a position of normalcy. So, babalik siya sa position niya, kaya safe yung pag-slip. So, next naman is yung non-turning slip. So, kapag ka sinabi natin na non-turning slip, if you match the rudder deflection to the bank angle just right, no net turn results, this is called a non-turning slip. Ibig sabihin, kapag yung airplane hindi nag-spin or nag-turn, ibig sabihin, ang tawag doon ay non-turning slip. So, ang non-turning slip, aerodynamically speaking, there is no meaningful difference between forward slip and side slip. So, both are synonymous with non-turning slip. So, kapag ginawa mo ng maayos yung forward slip at side slip, magre-result to into a non-turning slip, which is pareho lang yung dalawa. Ang magkaiba lang sila is yung sa direction ng wind. So, ito yon. Makikita natin sa picture na high-wing airplane is a slip. So, yung airflow distributed over part of downward wing daw, sinashadow niya, no? Sinashadow niya yung fuselage, yung pagtama ng relative wind doon sa upper wing. Kaya nauunang mag-stall yung upper wing. Next is turning slip. So, turning slip is slipping during a turn or turning during a slip is relatively unusual but not unheard of. So, very unusual to nangyayari kasi mostly kapag nag-turn ang airplane, mostly sa skid yun nangyayari. And eto, very unusual siyang nangyari kasi most of the slips naman ay nagiging successful. Pero possible siyang mangyari. So parang ganito yon. Proper slip while maneuvering. Okay, so next. So punta naman tayo sa skid. So skid denotes a particular type of slip that occurs when the airplane is in a blank and the uncoordinated airflow is coming from the side with the raised wing. So typically this happens because you have tried to speed up a turn bottom rudder that is pressing the rudder pedal at the same time as the lowered wing. So in doing this bank angle to the left, so kapag gagawin natin yung skid, kailangan mo mag-bank angle to the left, then put in left pedal. So kung sa slip, opposite yung banking sa pag ano mo ng pedal, dito naman sa skid, pareho. For example, nag-bank ka to the left, dapat yung pedal mo na aapakan ay left din. So, sabi rito, in doing bank angle to the left, put left pedal or bank angle to the right, then put in right pedal. So, yun. Ayun yung skidding turn. Too much rudder causes skid, tapos up ailerons create lower angle of attack, tapos down aileron creates high angle of attack. So, para mas maintindihan natin yung skid, tingnan natin kung ano yung nangyayari sa aircraft kapag mag-skid dito sa video.
And this is the dangerous.
Ayan. Ginawa na niya.
And airplanes flying by. There's no issues whatsoever. The skid is going to be where you have a right bank and right left. And this is the dangerous.
So, ayan yung nag-right bank siya, tapos nag-right pedal. Consider as skid na yun. Or left bank or and left pedal.
And if your eye line, remember the airplane's flying directly towards you, as you see this, you can see all kind of problems. Let me explain why behind that.
Ito yun. Wait lang ah.
Right. And this is the dangerous one. This is where the ball goes outside the turret. And this is where we can create all kind of problems. Let me explain why behind that.
So, yun. Yun yung pag-skid naman. Teka lang natin. So, So yung skid, it is when the ball is to the outside of the turn. It is when the tail goes to the outside of the turn. So, kapag ka sinabi natin na skid, with this action, the fuselage blanks the lower wing. So, if the airplane get in a high angle of attack, the high angle of attack, the lower wing is going to stall first, losing lift, and the airplane is going to fall over on its back. So, when it falls over in its back, so kapag nag-spin na yung aircraft, nag-spin na yung aircraft dahil sa skid, the airplane is going to enter into a spin very quickly. So, if you have plenty of airspeed, the aerodynamics of a skid is the time as the aerodynamic of a proper slip. So, in both cases, there is air flowing crosswise over the fuselage. Makikita natin sa picture. However, kailangan na kailangan na matanggal yung form ng pag-skid kasi delikado talaga yon. So if the aircraft stalls, any slight crosswise flow will cause one wing to stall before the other. In particular, having the sudden roll to the right if the aircraft is in 45-degree bank to the right and roll another 45-degree in the same direction, it will reach the knife edge altitude. So, ayun, magiging delikado na talaga sa airplane or aircraft. So, pagka sinabi nating sleep, it is very safe and very useful to do. Kapag naman sinabi natin na skid, it is very dangerous kasi nga may tendency na yung airplane mo ay mag-fall over on its back.
So next naman is the spin. Spin is an aggravated stall that typically occurs from a full stall occurring with the airplane in a yaw state. It is caused when the airplane's wing exceeds its critical angle of attack with a side slip or yaw, acting on the airplane at or beyond the actual stall. It is termed as autorotation, wherein the airplane follows a downward corkscrew path, as you can see in the figure. So to put it simply, spin is an uncontrolled flight condition of an airplane wherein it is also stalled. So there are four elements in the spin. First is stalled, next is incipient phase or incipient spin, next is fully developed spin, and lastly is recovery. So paano nga ba napupunta sa incipient phase? So in order to enter the incipient phase, ang hinahanap is dapat one wing is more stalled than the other wing. So paano na-achieve na one wing is more stalled than the other wing? Nagagawa to when the flight is uncoordinated. So, ano ba yung uncoordinated? So, coordinated is when the tail is lined up to the nose in the airstream. Tapos ang uncoordinated naman is when the aircraft is flying sideways in the airstream at some degree. So, based dito sa figure natin, when the airplane is stalled, then nag-yaw to the right, ang nangyayari, yung left wing experiences more airflow than the right wing. Thus, they experience a slightly different angles of attack and mas stalled ngayon ang right wing compared sa left wing. So, alam naman natin na when we exceed the critical angle of attack, ang nangyayari is nagkakaroon ng less lift and more drag. Tapos, gaya nga nang nandito sa figure, while stalling, nag-yaw to the right, thus the right wing becomes greater than the critical angle of attack and thus experiences more drag but less lift. Tapos ang nangyayari naman sa left wing experiences less drag and more lift. To put it simply, ang naging result nito is the aircraft then spins to the right. Tapos since nga more drag ang na-experience ng right wing, ang nangyayari din is the aircraft would also yaw to the right. In addition, the more we yaw or the more we roll, mas na-aggravate yung condition. And this is then referred to as auto-yaw or auto-roll. When the auto-yaw or the auto-roll take over, yun ang tinatawag na fully developed spin. So patuloy lang na mag-fall out of the sky ang aircraft and it will continue to yaw and roll around its center of gravity. By this point, need na ng intervention ng pilot in order for the aircraft to recover from the condition. Which leads us to the last element, which is spin recovery. So firstly, every POH or pilot's operating handbook has a specific technique for the particular make and model of an airplane to recover for spin. The POH must be referenced for the specific way that the manufacturer recommends in recovery. Pero in general, however, there are four techniques for spin recovery, namely PARE or maybe pair or pare. So first is power to idle. So bakit natin i-idle yung power? 'di ba in a normal stall kasi, in order to recover from a normal stall, we increase the power. Dito bawal kasi we are spinning. When we increase the power while we're spinning, mas mapapabilis din natin yung pag-spin nito. Tapos, in addition, 'di ba we are going in a while spinning, we're falling. And by adding more power, we will obtain more airspeed than we want. So dapat idle lang yung power in order to not aggravate the condition, and also in order for us not to acquire more airspeed than we want. Next is ailerons neutral. So bakit nga ba neutral? 'Di ba 'pag nagsispin tayo to the right, ang instinct natin mag-yoke tayo to the left. Ang mangyayari kasi 'di ba 'pag nag-yoke tayo to the left, the right aileron would go down, the left aileron would go up. Ang mangyayari mag-i-increase yung ta's nag-spin tayo to the right, ang mangyayari papa-increase natin yung angle of attack para mag-stabilize. Looking back, hindi 'to puwede kasi nga nagsi-spin tayo to the right because the right wing is greater than the critical angle of attack. So by increasing the angle of attack more, mas mapapaspin pa tayo nito by yoking to the left. When we yoke to the left, mas mapapa-increase pa yung pag-spin natin. So bakit hindi gawin natin yung opposite? So theoretically pwede yon. Kaso walang nag-iisip na 'pag nagsi-spin tayo to the right, ang gagawin natin yoke to the right din, 'di ba? So mas efficient or effective na ang gawin na lang or tandaan na lang is yung ailerons dapat is neutral na lang. Next naman is rudder opposite direction. So basically this means that when we are spinning to the right, we add more rudder to the left, and when we are spinning to the left, we add more rudder to the right. By doing so, mapapatigil natin yung auto-yoke. And lastly is elevator forward. So by by pulling the yoke or pushing the yoke forward, mapapa-decrease natin yung angle of attack, and maa-install pa natin yung wing. By doing these techniques, mare-recover natin yung aircraft from spin. That is all. Thank you.